In this project, I'm going to show you how to use variables differently than we used before. Before, we basically used them to keep a score, so it would go up or down depending on how you were doing in the game. In this case, I'm going to use variables to help the computer remember how far you've progressed in the game. Over here I have a setup kind of like the maze game. I want you to think of this more of like an adventure game where you have to go around collecting things, and you have to do things in a certain order to finish the game. So right now I have a basic movement keys set up for the cat and something that positions the cat at the beginning of the maze when the green flag is clicked. And we can see this work like this. Now one thing I'd like to do is make sure that the dragon can detect when the cat is touching the dragon, and something should happen then. So let's go to the dragon sprite, and at the green flag we want to wait until we are touching the cat. After that, I want the dragon to do something. To start off, we can say something like, say, go away. Alright, so let's see if this works. Hit the green flag, and I'm probably going to get tired of always bouncing back to the beginning there pretty quickly, but we move over and the dragon says go away. Alright, now let's say there was something else up here that would instead have the dragon tell us something useful, like a clue. So let's add another sprite to the project, and let's pick a donut. Yeah, that seems nice. If I was a dragon, I'd like a donut. I'm going to position it up there and shrink it down a little bit. Okay, and it actually has code that's pretty similar to the dragon. In other words, the dragon waited until it was touching the cat, and I want the donut to do the same thing. Now I go look at the donut sprite, and I have that same code, but instead of saying go away, let's do something else. Well, what I want is for the computer to somehow know that I have touched the donut when I go back and touch the dragon, and we are going to use a variable for this. So I'm going to click on data, make a variable, and I'm going to call this have donut. In other words, this says whether or not the cat has the donut. So we hit OK. Right now, have donut is 0, and in our mind, that's going to mean that the cat has not touched the donut. If we change that to 1, then that's going to mean that the cat has touched the donut. So as long as the cat, when the game starts, as long as the cat hasn't touched the donut, then there should be 0, but as soon as we go and touch the donut, we want it to turn to 1. So I need to hit the green flag, and I'm going to cheat the cat over here, and I come up here and I touch the donut, and all of a sudden my variable has changed from a 0 to a 1. I'm going to do something a little bit different here. I'm going to right click in here and say add comment, and the comment I'm going to add is value 0 means the cat has not touched the donut. Value 1 means it has touched. A comment is something you can write to help you remember, or other people reading your code, why you're doing things a certain way. So here, set have donut to 1, I'm explaining why I'm doing this here. I have one more problem, and that is even when I stop the program and I hit the restart, it claims I already have the donut. We need to change the value of the donut back to 0 every time the green flag is clicked. So it's ready to start off in the way it should be started off. Now when I hit the green flag, it's have donut equals 0. Alright, so at this point, we're not doing anything with this variable except changing it when the cat comes up and touches the donut. Alright, it's now 1. I go over to the dragon, and of course it still says go away. Now let's modify the dragon's behavior depending on what the variable value is. So we go to dragon. I'm going to use a slightly new block. We have used the wait until something is true. We have used if something is true, then do something inside there. Now I'm going to use a if then else. Basically this does one thing if the blank here is true, and another thing if the blank is not true. Under data, I have my have donut variable, and under operators I have something that lets me know whether or not two things are the same. This checks if they're equal. It doesn't make one equal to the other. It just says, it asks the question whether the thing on the left and the thing on the right are equal. So I'm going to say is have donut equal to 0. If when the cat touches the dragon, have donut is equal to 0, then I have not gotten the donut. And I can still say go away. If have donut is not equal to 0, then the only other possibility right now is that have donut is equal to 1, and it turned 1 when I touched the donut. So at that point I can now say maybe some clue for later in the game, or I might just say, oh, thanks for the donut, and the princess is in the forest. Alright, let's see what happens here. I hit the green flag, I go down, and let's say I am eager to go talk to the dragon, so I go right away, and it says go away. If I restart the game and I go get the donut first, and you know, I could hide the donut. That's probably a good thing to do after I touch it to show that I sort of have grabbed it. And now I go to the dragon, and he says, oh, thanks for the donut, and the princess is in the forest. So here we're using the variable have donut to modify the behavior of different sprites depending on what's happened in the past, whether or not I've gotten the donut. Now there's one more subtle problem, and that is, let's say I first go to the dragon, it says go away, and I say, oh, I better go get that donut. So I go get the donut, my have donut is equal to 1. I come back here, I touch the dragon and nothing happens. That's because it waits until touching the cat, checks for the donut, says its stuff one way or the other, and then there's no more code. If I want to have a second chance to come back, I need to put this in some kind of repeat loop. So under control, I'm going to say repeat forever. In other words, this way I can keep going up and touching the dragon without the donut, and he says go away, and I try again, he says go away, try again, he says go away. And finally he'll say, oh, thanks for the donut. So if I come up now and hit the green flag, and first have the dragon say go away, I can also come back and he'll say go away again. I can get the donut, and it comes up and now says thanks for the donut. So by putting that wait until and then checking for what happens after touching the cat in a loop, I can come back again and again and basically get it right in the game. Now I put this all in a maze because we're sort of familiar with that, but you could have different backdrops here. You could use forest backdrops, castle backdrops, all sorts of stuff, and make a nice adventure game where you have to go around and maybe get some inventory and talk to things like this and find your way through the adventure.